Yes.
So when you decided to say, you know what, hey, I'm gonna get back into acting again, what steps did you take? What was the first thing you did?
Okay, so I didn't know how to get in. I didn't really know how to get into acting, so I just the first thing I did was I went to Google and I looked up acting classes near me, and so I found it was an acting class called Cincinnati Actor Studio that I went to. Shout out to Steve Francia. He's the acting instructor there. He's an amazing coach.
Wow.
He believed in me from the first day I came in. He told me everything that's happening now would happen, and he seen the vision in me.
Wow.
So shout out to him. I remember the day I seen it was a class that day they had open, and I guess I was supposed to call him to reserve a spot, but I just showed up. I just showed up without no explanation. I just came, and I remember I came in there, and it was already a few students in there sitting down, and he was at the door waiting.
Wow.
And he was asking me who am I, what am I doing here? I was telling him I want to join. Basically, I want to join this acting class, and he was just telling me you have to call and reserve a spot before you can join.
Right.
But he was laughing at me. I was like, oh my gosh. And he was but he was super nice, and he actually just let me join right on the spot. But he was saying next time you'll have to call.
Wow.
And I remember it was $25. I signed in that sheet, sat down. I was around a total the people that was in there they were so different from the people I'm usually around.
Very diverse.
Yes, and I just felt I was in a different space, a different
realm.
Yes, but it was good for me. I liked it that.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So that was your first acting class.
My first acting class.
So what was going on in with the acting class? So what was the first things? Was it hard, or did you get it right away, or was you a natural, or did it really take some time?
For me, I was so nervous. And I remember when class started, our teacher, he was talking for a minute, and then he just called me out on the spot, and it was wanted me to introduce myself in front of everybody. I was so nervous. I was sitting in the back. I was so nervous. It was a first day of school type of thing, where you gotta stand in front of the whole class or introduce yourself basically. So he put me on the spot with that, and I remember as class was going on, we were doing some improv scene work basically, and I was in it with some other people. I had some other scene partners and stuff, and when I was doing it, it felt good. It felt good. I didn't know if you said, did I feel I was a natural or not? I don't know if I felt like I was a natural. I just felt I was just trying to express myself in that type of way,
Yeah.
And I was just doing the best as I can.
And it felt right.
The first day, it felt right. It felt good to just be basically trying something new and seeing where I can go with it. And I remember at the end of our class, my coach was talking to me, and he was saying you're terrible. But he was he told me, okay, Irvin, you're terrible, but I see something in you. If you stick with this, you could actually be very good.
Yeah.
And I remember some of the classmates I met for the first day, my first time, they were actually telling me that, you said, I was a natural. I was doing good, and they thought I had been acting for a long time.
Wow.
Or for a while, and I was no, this is my first day.
Yeah.
And they were just shocked. They were you were pretty good for your first day. And so that gave me more confidence to just keep coming back to class. And
how many classes did you do? How long did you stick with the classes?
I was probably at that class for a while, probably I'd say 5-6 months.
Okay.
Before I got my first agent. So
wow. So the acting. So is this is a school?
Yeah, it's basically it's like a school. Yeah. It's like a school studio.
Right. And they actually help you get agents, or did they help you with that part of things?
Yeah. So our acting instructor, he's tapped in to he knows a lot of local agencies out here.
Yeah.
And I remember he had told me one day before class that he had recommended me to one of the agencies out here called Helen Wells Agency. Shout out to them. They were my first agents. Mm-hmm. And I remember I had to come in for them and perform a monologue in front of them. like, and I did it.
Yeah.
And she really loved it, and that's how I got in with them.
Wow.
So shout out to them, and shout out to Steve again.
Yeah. So you end up landing that. Did you end up landing the role with them, or?
Yeah, I ended up landing a spot in their agency after I performed. So I had to perform like a 1 minute monologue.
Right.
So our coach, he had us like working on a monologue. We would have to like find a monologue, work on it, and like every like 2 weeks, like someone would like perform a monologue in front of the whole class, and he would like let the whole class like give their critiques or if they think like it's a good piece for them or not. So he would have us like, basically he was like grooming us, preparing us for like things like that. Like if we want to get an agent or whatever, like we have to make sure we have a monologue prepared and ready, and make sure that it's tight and it's good to perform in front of them.
Yeah, because the agent is gonna help you get roles and different things. So if you perform good in front of them, they'll know like, okay, because everything is targeted too. They may look for a young black male for something, and then they say, hey, I got somebody who's perfect for that, and they put you in place.
Yes.
Now, what was the first role that you ever landed? Your first actual?
My first ever acting role I ever landed was a short film out here in Cincinnati, Ohio called what is it called? Power Music.
Okay.
It's called Power Music. It was a short film out here. It was an in-person audition, and it was my first ever audition. So I remember my coach, shout out coach, he had told me about like they were having like an open call. And he was telling me where it was at, what day it was gonna be. And I remember I came up there. I was so nervous. Like it was like my first ever audition. I'm like, man, like, and it's in person. So I remember I got in there. And with in-person auditions, like they'll have you read with them. Basically, you can read, like you don't have to be memorized. Like it's like reading off the script basically.
Right.
And I remember I was doing it. I was in there. They were like giving me notes and stuff, and I was just super nervous because it was my first time ever doing an audition. And I remember when I was done, like they were saying they loved it and everything, and they had wanted me. One of them had wanted me to read for another role, and I did that as well.
Wow. And
actually, one of my classmates was there with me, and he had did I don't remember what role he was going for, but I remember he had went first, and like I seen him come out the room, and he was like, "You're gonna do good." Basically, you know, it's just like class, just be locked in and focused. Right. And I'm just looking at him like, dude, this is my first audition. You've been acting for a while. Like I'm nervous, you know. So yes, and then I found out probably like a week and a half later, I got it. They emailed me, and was saying they wanted to offer me the role. Wow. I was like, and when I had got the role, I was in class. Wow. Like I swear, I was in class. Freaking out. I'm freaking out. I got on my phone at the end. I seen the email. I'm like, oh my God. I started yelling in the middle of class, and I like told everybody like I got the role and everything. My coach was happy. Everybody was happy for me, telling me congratulations. Wow. That's one thing I can say about Cincinnati Actor Studio. Like that's like a real family. Like even outside of like acting class, like sometimes we would go out to eat. Yeah. Like we would go to the movies to look at other movies with our coach. Like it's like a real family there, and I always consider them as family too. Yeah. And like they were like the first people to like, you know, bring me into like this art and this thing we do, you know. So I always cherish them, and I always like had them in my heart, you know. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. That's amazing. And you know, a lot of people wouldn't even know that something like that even exists here in Cincinnati. Because was it a lot of other black people there? Were you? It wasn't that many black people. Yeah. It was probably like 3 or 4, and the other people were like white or like a different type of, you know, race. But it wasn't that many black people there. Yeah, so you was all on, you was kind of just yes. That's why I said like when I got there, like I was just looking around like, dang, these people look like they do acting or something. Like the way, like it was just like the way like they were like dressed and everything, and like they like personality and everything. It gives like something like exactly. And me like coming from like sports and, you know, stuff like that, coming like from the streets. Exactly. I'm like looking around like, okay, like how do I fit into this? You know, like just trying to find my way up in there and just continue to be my authentic self and not, you know, try to be like anyone else.
Absolutely. So after you land your first role you landed was here in Cincinnati, your first role, what come after that? Because I know eventually you end up landing some big things.
Right, so, okay.
What came after that?
Okay, so what came after that was, I remember I was still going to class. I had my Helen Wells agency out here, and I remember I had met. So as I was shooting Power Music, I had met someone on that film who was the lead, and we had became real close.
Okay.
Shout out Hosea, and he had known people who were already on like big shows and stuff already. And I remember I had seen him on Instagram. He was going live with somebody who had already been on a few big things, and I met him there. And so basically he had like, I don't know how we ended up like connecting, and I ended up getting his number, and we were like talking on the phone, and he was just like telling me like, basically he was like schooling me on like the business and like basically what agents I would need to get like opportunities for like bigger shows and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And he had like, he was schooling me on that. He was helping me with like getting headshots, different type of other classes that would look good on my resume. Absolutely. And I remember he had got me with he didn't get me with them, but he told me about this agency in Chicago that he was with. Called Dream Team Talent Agency.
And that ain't far from here.
It ain't. Shout out Dream Team. Shout out Ms. Vilma. Love you so much. That's my agent. So he had told me about them, but he was basically saying like I would need like I would need to build my resume up before I could like try to like submit to him.
Right.
And I was like, dang, okay, yeah. So I'm thinking like, man, it's gonna take me like 1 or 2 more years to like try to get more like roles or like build up my resume more. And I remember he told me to just like submit to them. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do it. I didn't have nothing. I had nothing. I only had that one role, that one short film role on my resume, and the school I was going to out here.
Yeah.
That's all I had with training, and that was the only role I had booked. And I remember though before that I had got some new headshots, like some new headshots. They looked great, and so I just submitted to the agency, and she got back to me like in like a week and was like saying like she wanted me to like audition to like get into the agency. So I had to like perform a commercial scene, and I performed a commercial scene. I did like 2 takes. I actually went like for the commercial scene, like it was like presenting food basically, and I really went to get the real meal from like the place, and I really recorded and shot it and sent it to her, and she got back to me in like 3 days. I remember I was at a little league football game, and I had got that email that she wanted to sign me.
Wow.
And like I ain't gonna lie, like I was so shocked. Like I mean, I like my audition. I got in because of my audition, because I obviously couldn't get in with my resume or nothing because I didn't really have anything.
Right.
So they were telling me like I killed my audition, like my friends. They were saying I killed my audition. So I felt good about the audition, but then I kept having thoughts in my head like, man, I don't really got nothing for real, so she still might not take me. And she did. She took me, and like from there, I was really in shock. Like I felt like it wasn't real and everything. But after like I got settled in with them, I started getting some big auditions.
Wow.
And I remember my first audition with them was for Power.
Wow.
It was for Power Force. That's they shoot in Chicago.
Yeah, they shoot in Chicago with Tommy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that was my first ever audition with them. Wow. I was so excited and scared because I was like, oh my God, this is a real like big opportunity.
Absolutely.
So from there, like so basically from there I started auditioning for like big stuff. And I was in class like all the time. Like I wasn't trying to do nothing else. I wasn't trying to go outside with nobody. I wasn't trying to party. I wasn't trying to do nothing. I was super focused on my craft and trying to book.
Wow.
So